Yeah.
What is this incredible story about haemophiliac children?
Well, I'm glad that you say that, because I feel like I should have known about this many, years ago. It has been rumbling on for decades, this infected blood scandal. And lots of us, I think, have vaguely heard of it, but I think it's a bit like the post office scandal. It was never big enough, it was never sexy enough, it was never headliney enough.
Yeah.
But it's actually horrifying. So their headline is End This Bloody Disgrace. They've got a campaign calling for justice to be done for the victims. Now, in the 1970s and 1980s, many people, haemophiliac children, and haemophilia is the condition where your blood doesn't clot, haemophiliac children were used by doctors for reckless medical experiments. They were basically used as guinea pigs in trials to... They had blood samples which were sent from America, from blood donors that were paid blood donors, often alcoholics, prisoners, drug users, and they were experimented on. These children were experimented on. They were given blood that was infected with deadly diseases, HIV, amongst others, hepatitis C. It's kind of astonishing to think of now. It's being called, I think, the deadliest man-made disaster in post-war British history. Over 3,000 people died. Many more are living with the condition, with conditions. I mean, on the front of the Sunday Times, there's this little boy, Colin Smith, who died in 1983, aged 7 years old. Other people who died in their 40s, others who died in their 20s.
It's a direct result of what happened to it.
A direct result of AIDS, a direct result of HIV, of hepatitis C, these deadly, deadly diseases.
This child...
The parents had no knowledge or consent. Can
you imagine taking your newborn child, imagine finding your child, as the family of Colin Smith found out in the 80s, taking him to hospital, finding out he's a haemophiliac, giving him to doctors, and doctors saying, oh, we're going to treat him, he's going to be absolutely fine. And then 7 years later, in 1990, I think he died of AIDS. I mean, especially in that era...
He died weighing the weight of a 4-month-old baby. He was skin and bone.
But in a case like that, are we saying these people were deliberately infected?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
But why? Like in 1983, people didn't know what HIV/AIDS was, but it was like really new and emerging.
It was infected blood. I'm not saying that the doctors were trying to kill them, but they knew that they were getting blood samples that were paid for, that they knew were infected with various things. They were being used as human trials. Yes.
Good.
Often they were told, oh, transfer to this hospital, we're going to try this new treatment, and they weren't told. It's absolutely appalling. And actually, Stephen, if you think about the ramifications of it, there are people still live, and none of them have received compensation. No. And that's what the campaign is calling for, a full apology, because there's a public inquiry reporting this week. Full apology, compensation for the victims, and support for the ongoing sufferers. Yeah. Think about how people sleep with other people. Think about relationships and lovers and partners who may actually be living with these conditions, and it's still not known.
And those bereaved families as well, who are left behind.
I mean, there isn't enough money in the world.
No.
That's a problem to compensate.
And, of course, like the post office scandal, no government wants to... I mean, now, Boris Johnson, Sadiq Khan, Andy Burnham, a whole load of people are getting behind it. And they were all in power, and they all could have done something. Boris Johnson could have done something about it. And they're all getting behind this campaign now, which is great, and saying, yes, pay compensation.
It's a scandal.
I think there's 100-odd MPs that are going to sign this motion. But again, you talk about 180 again. But we're in this position where we knew about the post office years ago. We knew about this blood scandal years ago. Grenfell, we're in a similar situation where it's just endlessly kicked into the long grass. Yeah. There's no resolution. There's appeal after appeal. There's report after report. We have all of the information, and yet we don't have any... There's no resolution for any of these desperate situations.
Well, maybe we need something like an ITV drama, like we saw with the post office scandal, to kind of push it into the public consciousness.
Or front page of the Sunday Times. But it makes me sad that, I mean, we have heard, it has been raised in Parliament, the infected blood scandal, like the Horizon scandal. It has been raised in Parliament, but it's never...
The infected blood scandal was never... It was never framed in this way. It was... We didn't see it in this particular light, did we? We saw it as people receiving, factor 8, whatever it's called, that coincidentally happened to be infected.
Yeah, I think it's like the ITV drama. Until it's on the front page of the Sunday Times, no one really...
Gets the detail.
Gets the detail of it,
Awful.